Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering woke college forced to pay $185,000 to a fired free speech professor. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from the College Fix. College pays fired conservative professor $185,000 to avoid a free speech lawsuit. They knew they would lose that lawsuit. Also from the College Fix, the background. Professor made student, quote, uncomfortable with open debate and then got fired. Here's what's going on. A political science professor and former police officer effectively got fired by St. Philip's College earlier this year after allowing debate on topics such as gender ideology and police brutality, and he's been paid $185,000 in a settlement. So they got him out of the college, he would not back down, and they were forced to pay him $185,000 or he would have sued them in federal court, and he would have won. The college's agreement with Will Moravits also included a neutral job recommendation, and in turn, he also agreed to not work for any Alamo Colleges District schools in the future, he said. The San Antonio-based St. Philip's is one of 5 in the community college district. Moravits, in an interview last week with the College Fix, said the settlement was reached in September and warded off what would have been a federal lawsuit he was prepared to file against the district that alleged its leaders infringed on his constitutionally protected free speech rights and academic freedom. Quote, don't let institutions push you around, Moravits said. The Constitution is on our side. They are hoping to bully us and make us go away. Stand and fight. This is the future of our country. There are organizations that can help you. Moravits was represented by attorneys with the nonprofit Academic Freedom Alliance. Reached for comment, district spokesperson Christy Wyatt told the College Fix via email that officials rely on, quote, internal and mandated investigation processes and, when necessary, mediations and the court system to safeguard rights and facilitate a fair and just outcome. She refused to respond to specific questions about Moravits. Moravits is one of 2 conservative scholars who this year have accused St. Philip's College of discrimination and suppressing free speech and classroom discussion. Biologist Johnson Varkey filed over the summer a religious discrimination charge with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, against the college, alleging administrators fired him for teaching sex is determined by X and Y chromosomes. Varkey's case remains unresolved. On December 20th, 5 Texas lawmakers, including U.S. Senator Ted Cruz and Congressman Chip Roy and Dan Crenshaw, co-signed a letter to St. Philip's College President Adina Williams-Lawson demanding answers, stating they are concerned district leaders appear to be violating federal and state civil rights laws by rashly and wrongfully terminating employees based on unsubstantiated allegations. The letter only addresses Varkey's case, but Moravits, in his draft complaint, had also accused campus leaders of suspending him and ultimately firing him through a non-renewal of his contract based on unsubstantiated allegations from one female student claiming he made rude, offensive, and discriminatory comments. Quote, the supposedly improper thoughts and expressions of Dr. Moravits constituted nothing more than leading a critical class discussion about current controversial issues in American life, such as gender ideology, transgender rights, race, and police brutality, states the draft complaint, a copy of which was provided to the College Fix. Moravits said he allowed controversial discussions and debate in his classroom on hot-button topics, and he would argue both sides of any given issue for balance. But the claims that launched the probe, that he made homophobic statements and openly supported police brutality, were completely fabricated, he said. For example, Moravits, in his 2022 book, The Blue Divide, Policing and Race in America, wrote that police brutality is unacceptable and must be addressed. 3 students in the political science class gave affidavits in support of Moravits, stating the accusations were false. For students to do that for their professor, especially in this culture, in this environment, is really brave, and they must have really loved this guy. They lost a great professor. Moravits' future employment had been confirmed through spring 2024, and his performance reviews had been complimentary, but administrators let him go in March. Officials, quote, proved so hostile to free speech and academic freedom that it escorted Dr. Moravits from campus under armed guard. In a sham investigation that followed, the college discovered affirmative evidence that the student's complaint was based entirely on false accusations. But this did not matter. The college promptly called off the investigation and fired Dr. Moravits anyway, it states. One of the students who provided an affidavit in support of Moravits, Nathan Martin, told the College Fix in an interview that he felt the investigation against his former instructor was biased. The student had been interviewed by a campus official as part of the investigation. Quote, it seemed like they were trying to get him on something, Marin said. I'm pleased it got settled. They kicked him out based on no evidence, just hearsay. Moravits also teaches at Texas State University as a lecturer in political science. He said things are going well for him there and his peers treat him with respect. Here's what the initial complaint was all about. Also from the College Fix, professor made student uncomfortable with open debate, gets fired. A conservative political science professor and former police officer lost his job at St. Philip's College in San Antonio after he allowed debate on topics including homosexuality and policing, the second professor at the school to be forced out in the last semester. Okay, here's the other professor whose case is not settled yet. This is from the College Fix. Fired Christian biology professor files religious discrimination complaint. A former Texas biology professor has filed a religious discrimination charge with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission against his former employer, St. Philip's College, alleging administrators fired him for teaching sex is determined by X and Y chromosomes. The EEOC complaint is the first step in filing a lawsuit against the school. Former adjunct professor Johnson Varkey, who is Christian, alleges in his July 25th complaint that St. Philip's College, quote, violated Title VII of the Civil Rights Act when it terminated me because of my sincerely held religious beliefs and protected speech. Varkey's firing came after 4 students walked out of his class in November 2022 in an active protest, allegedly in part over his teaching that X and Y chromosomes determine sex in humans. But they really do. Varkey's letter of termination, included as an exhibit in the complaint, stated that the school had received numerous complaints about his religious preaching, discriminatory comments about homosexuals and transgender individuals, anti-abortion rhetoric, and misogynistic banter. In the EEOC complaint, Varkey stated claims he preached in class are false and instead are linked to his service as a pastor, which allegedly resulted in discrimination against him by St. Philip's College. Quote, while I never preached or proselytized in class, the accusation of religious preaching was clearly in connection with the fact that I serve as an associate pastor. I would mention this by way of introduction at the beginning of each semester so my students were aware. The college assumed I was preaching rather than teaching due to negative discriminatory stereotypes about Christians. This perception was inaccurate and discriminatory. If not for my beliefs about gender, sexuality, and human life, I would not have been fired. Varkey said his lessons are based on standard principles about biology and reproduction. Wouldn't you think now that the students could be recording the teacher? Like, isn't it easy? Doesn't everyone have a phone that records audio at least? How do they not have a recording of him if he supposedly did this? Well, during my lecture on the human reproductive system, I stated that human sex is determined by chromosomes X and Y, and that reproduction must occur between a male and a female to continue the human species, he stated in his complaint. I also explained that when a sperm, which has 23 chromosomes, joins with an egg, which also has 23 chromosomes, a zygote, which has 46 chromosomes, is formed. And it begins to divide, and after 38 weeks, a baby is born, he stated. Because no information is added or deleted in those 38 weeks, life starts when the zygote begins to divide, not when the baby is born. In the course of teaching human anatomy and physiology, I made these statements in every class for 19 years without incident or complaint. The complaint points out that during Varkey's nearly 20-year employment as a biology professor at St. Philip's College, he consistently received exemplary performance reviews and was never subjected to discipline. Varkey is represented by First Liberty Institute, whose spokesman, Chris Froon, told the College Fix that St. Philip's is suppressing academic freedom by firing Varkey. Quote, public universities have no business firing professors simply because they hold a different view than their students. Academic freedom is important because without civil discourse or the free exchange of ideas within a classroom, freedom of thought is destroyed. Keisha Russell, who serves as counsel for First Liberty, accused the school of terminating Varkey's employment to satisfy a small group of students. Quote, no college professor should be fired for teaching factual concepts that a handful of students don't want to hear, Russell said. Dr. Varkey received exemplary performance reviews for nearly 2 decades teaching fact-based, widely accepted science. But now that cultural elites are at odds with those ideas, the school no longer supports professors who teach them. Varkey is not the first conservative professor to be fired by St. Philip's College in recent months. In March, when they fired Professor Will Moravits, without his consent, employees packed up his property and took it to another location where he was allowed to pick it up under police supervision. Like Professor Moravits said, the only way to win is to fight back. He did get a cash settlement. He has another teaching job and hasn't ruined his life. But if we don't fight back, these people at these colleges, people in industry, people in government will abuse their power and they'll get away with it. It's great to see the college back down and gave him that cash settlement. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.